We are so excited for today's episode. We have one of our favorite people, Lilian-Wanandy Perez, is so special to me and Raju because Lilian actually enrolled in our Bold Conscious Leadership program a year ago. And so to be able to witness her growth and her transformation along this employee to entrepreneurship journey has just been so fulfilling.
Mm. You know, you've lived everything that we teach, we coach about, and it's just. And I had not met you until just very recently to actually put a face to not just the name, but also see you live and all that you've done with yourself.
Not just on Zoom.
Not on Zoom, I meant not on Zoom. So it was like, oh, so here's a real person, and oh my God, look what she's done. So where you began with us, I think when we first talked to you almost more than a year ago, and then we started our program
Mhm.
July 4th last year. So it's such a great celebration to have you here and actually see all this, come to life.
Yeah, so welcome, Lillian. We love to have our guests just say a few things just to introduce themselves to our audience. What would you like to share about you, your journey? Go for it.
Thank you, first of all, for the invitation to be a part of your podcast. It's such an honor. Like as you mentioned, my name is Lillian, and I am now the owner of Puffy, which is a small cafe that we specializing in offering the spin-off of puffer cheese, which is a mini Dutch pancake. That's all we focus on. We offer many different flavors, but what makes us very unique and special is that we are focusing our ingredients are allergen conscious, and that started began from my children. I have two children, and they both severely have severe food allergy, pretty much to dairy, eggs, peanuts, tree nuts, and seeds. So after many episodes, it's been the last 10 years. It's been my goal just to bring something unique and different and provide a safe environment for people, for children, families, that have the same, I guess, issue, just to give them a sense of normal lives. So since then, the last 10 years, I've been cooking up in my own home, and trying to figure out what is the best way to offer out there, combining also with just fun, bringing the fun in the life. How can I combine those two? And that's how Puffy gets started. So myself, I've been in retail. That's how I met Trisha for about almost 20 years. And then I decided prior COVID to kind of like switch, career. But I was still in fear, like everybody else, keep calculating. I'm such a planner. Just is this the right thing? Is this the right path? And then so I took a little step and stepped into a different retail for a moment. But then COVID hits. Like everyone know that changed the whole game or plan that everybody has, and that's where my life crossed path with Trisha and Raju, where I joined their program, and that's really opening my eyes in totally a different learning, I would say. And the biggest thing is really learning how to surrender. And you guys will hear a lot about, like, I'm really learning about just focusing on the what and the why, and that's really put me back, that years of like, why am I here, why do I want to do this, and really not really spinning into the how. That's like the biggest thing. If you're a planner, you want everything to be by you, by me, everything is in line. That's the biggest change. And oh my gosh, in 1 year, this is where I am.
Wow.
So that's how it all started, and about me.
Amazing. Uh,
Totally amazing.
let's back it up,
That's right.
and let's back it up to what it took to finally make the decision. Because, like you said, you left your retail job, but then you went to another retailer. And then COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
COVID hit for the whole world. The whole world
Yes.
is not doing what you're doing. So, what was it about how you were experiencing all of it that finally you were like, this is it, I'm deciding? Because the decision is always the
That's
first
right.
Yes.
step.
Right. So go to that
Yes.
point, that moment, and a lot of it's great when people are listening to this. If you have stories to tell that sort of describe that feeling, the emotion, and that point where whether it's frustration, all of those things that we all feel.
Yep.
What was it that finally pushed you over the edge? That's what we want to.
So yeah, so great question. So it's been a mountain of different thing, and when people go through what I went through, so first of all, I had cancer almost 20 years ago. So that's the first click that is in my mind. I'm fortunately cured now so far, and but it's been always in the back of my mind since I was diagnosed. Is what is it? I've been given a second
Mhm.
chance, so, what is it that I am here for? Why am I on earth? Like, there's something more. So, when I was in corporate world, I enjoy myself. As the corporate world change, everything around me change. You start losing what you enjoy. I keep trying to, fit in or like make myself enjoy what I do. And one of the biggest thing that I know is really connecting and growing others. That's what is so fulfilling to me, and that's what keep me going so far. But then that tug inside of you, that small voice that you just keep tucked away in the cupboard, keep popping up and saying, hey, there's something else you gotta do, there's something else, and that question keep popping. So but I think with the busyness in life, perhaps not until COVID hits, it's so easy to just lock it up in a cupboard and say, hey, I'm too afraid to step in into that. This is so comfortable. Just keep riding on it. So with COVID and joining your program, it's slowly opening up, just to be honest. When I joined, my mind was like, I'm going to learn about how am I going to shape up my business. So until I can, reach that. But it's beyond that. What you tap into my heart, that heart centeredness tilted open, I think that is the key to everyone to switch from, what were you doing and dare to step into it. I think what you guys have done to me is like to unlock that I said, the one that I've been shoving in the cupboard, to really look into what is my purpose here. So the click was, I think, in the middle of the program, is really tapping into the what and the why, and really not looking at the how, but really let the how unfold. For somebody that such a learner all throughout my life, and a planner, that was a complete opposite, to throw myself into the unknown. But here we are, the answer. I keep finding things that say, I never thought about that. Let me just walk into it. And I think when you let yourself into it and you see what's in front of you, it's amazing. You just want to you're just going to let yourself to be part of it.
So to be clear, you're saying
Yes.
that you had not made this decision until you kind of, you've done it all. So it's not like we haven't done anything, but until you joined the program and as you got into it, is that what you're saying? That's when you decided?
Yes. That's what I decided. I mean, through before the program, the plan is there. You keep working on the plan and what you want to do. You keep figuring out, but is there something always stopping you there? That fear
Mhm.
definitely is the wall that I'm sure everybody's gonna step into something new. To leave something that you've been a part of for 20 years. There's so many reasons you can give. Like, oh, I do not want to leave because I need to pay bills, because I have two children. I'm a part of contributing to my family. So those all that will be enough to stop you at the beginning. But now that I think about it, it's like, how do I know if I never done it and I'm not stepping into it? How do I know what's on the other side of the wall? And I think that is the one that is the biggest change for me.
Go
Well,
ahead.
thank you for allowing, right?
Yeah.
As I was listening to you,
Yeah.
it's so reward. It feels so good to hear you reflect that back to me and Raju. And we really appreciate that people like yourself have allowed for the process to unfold, and that you were so bold to actually let go of this part of you that needed to have all the answers, or let go of the part of you that needed to have all the
Mhm.
plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that you said, like, about halfway through the program, probably when we were in the reimagine
Phase,
phase,
yeah.
is when that clicked. This is It's so cool. Thank you. And now you're here, I
Yeah.
guess on our podcast.
So yeah.
It's what has changed, sorry, so what has changed is actually I always thought I'm a learner. I always thought that I have an open mindset. It's so easy like to say I have an open mindset, I like to learn. But totally this whole year I think I have been tapped into a different kind of learning where you don't just say right away, oh, this is not my territory, oh, I'm not part of it. You can always learn from anything. Is how to you translate it to what you want to do. When you can extract what's good from everything and combine them, I think you become the architecture of your own life or where you want to go. That's one thing, the biggest thing that I've learned. I've been opening up, looking at, I'm not an influencer, I'm not joining an influencer. At first I'm like, hold on, what is that? But let me see, let me tap into that. And I'm like, oh, yes, I am. My husband, like, you are an influencer, not only through your food, like the food is just a
Yeah.
vehicle, like you want to go somewhere, it's just a car. But who drive it is
Mhm.
us. Doesn't matter what kind of car, we're going to get there. So,
That's
yeah.
remarkable. I mean, we all, of course, we always have fears, and now you stepped into this arena. We'll get more into that in a second. And then these fears and self doubts will come up in different ways again, right? The question is
Oh,
what
yeah.
sustains you to keep going, right? So it's a constant test of our abilities, right? So
Yes, exactly. I mean, that fears, I wouldn't say after joining the program or learning about it that the fear doesn't showed up. It showed up. It's a part of life, but it's how you overcome the fear, how you know that you have your circle or like where you can go back to, you have your support. That's where you're like, you know what? I'm not afraid. Bring it on. I'm just gonna have to figure it out. So I think that's the best part of
hmm.
joining or like, being a part of it.
So let's
Yeah.
take you back a little bit more again, because deep down we like Trisha had 20 years. You've got 20 years as I had maybe 30 years in corporate. The thing is that we all were achievers, right? You were an achiever. Trisha was an achiever.
Hmm.
You always climbing this ladder, but not everybody climbs the ladder in the way that everybody else does, but somebody does, and you just because you feel there is more to life. You've
Yep.
had your challenges. So, is there any particular point that along the way that you felt maybe it's your backstory, maybe it's your heritage? What is it about entrepreneurship that of course, you have your Poffy, which is your business right now, and hope many
Yes.
more. You there was something in you, but was it going to be entrepreneurship, or what was it about this being a business person that attracted you more?
Yes. Good question too. So I've grown up, my family, I've grown up in a where my family actually they are entrepreneurs. So my parents both started their diagnostic lab back in Indonesia. I totally remember from a very tiny space, where both of them work together in every single facet. So I've been always part of and looking, on how they grow their business from nothing to now be able to be part of the society, the community. One of the biggest thing my dad always, and my mom too, no matter where or what my brother and I do, either we build something or we become a part of something, is to serve.
Mm,
That's the biggest thing. And they always say, don't look at how much you're gonna earn, not don't look at how much you're gonna gain. Oh, yes, that's important, but it's serving with your heart, and that's always, the biggest thing from when we grow up. And that's, I think, kind of still in me. That's why I could last that long in the corporate world. Despite all the changes, the tugging, I am there to serve. I am there to really act like it is my own, although it's not my own. So I think that's part of it in me. It's always like, what if I have my own, and build my own thing where I can create that container for others, where they feel part of the community, that collaboration. And I think that's building coffee. It's one of the biggest thing. Again, not just the food, but it's really like building that. And my relationship with the staff, I think it's so important. I mean, also with the customers. So growing up, in the environment that is, very nurturing like that, I think it's very fortunate. But I don't think anybody should stop, if they don't, I don't think it should stop anyone to want to switch or have a thought about it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I was going to say that I've had the honor of actually tasting coffee a few weeks ago. Oh my goodness! So these you said they're Dutch pancakes, so that's what
Yep.
the
Mini
actual
mini Dutch
mini Dutch pancake.
pancakes.
Mini
But then
Dutch
they
pancake.
they're little round little balls with all sorts of amazing sauces. So yeah, and it's you call it fun for everyone, right? So they come either whether it's for
Yes.
breakfast or dessert or middle
Yep.
of the day. So it's
Yep.
so that's it's just amazing to see the actual vision you have, and this will probably grow from where you are to bigger things, and so there'll be more challenges, but I think what you're saying is that you've got it in your blood. You've seen the corporate life in America. You're an immigrant from Indonesia, and you've seen your parents inculcate some of that value of service, and that I saw
Yep.
live.
So, Lillian, so much of what you described is really describing why it supports why, Raju and I always talk about the entrepreneurship journey as being a spiritual journey,
Hmm.
serving from the heart.
Hmm.
There was so
Yep.
much, people listening need to rewind this a few minutes to just go back to so much of what you shared just a few moments ago. So if you really are focused from serving from the heart, and we know that involves courage. Courage
Hmm.
requires vulnerability. And
Hmm.
vulnerability, and one of the ways you could look at vulnerability is letting people see you, right?
Hmm. Yes.
However, this podcast is called Bold Conscious Connections because in the boldness of something, it goes beyond just allowing yourself to be exposed, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yes.
in this journey where you've had to really find that courage, find that part of you that is brave, that is okay with the vulnerability, and then to actually go through the process and to manifest Puffy. And you've been open now since Memorial Day weekend, so it's almost been
Hmm.
2 months.
Yep.
I'm curious to hear from you what it was or what it is about you, Lillian, in this idea of being bold, which often always includes letting go of something or letting something die or releasing something.
Hmm.
Those parts of us that perhaps hold us back, those doubts, those limiting beliefs that don't serve us. I want to ask you this question in this way. What are the parts of Lillian that you've let go of that existed prior to Memorial Day 2021? Who are those parts that you've said, okay, you served a purpose up until now, and now we're moving beyond that. Describe for us, you know, those parts of you that you've let go.
I think that's a very powerful question. I think the biggest part that, being bold and vulnerable, like there's no hiding, like, I mean, it's not that hiding, but when you're out there and you really truly serve with your heart and you're out in public, you are open. So there's so many different things, either critics or reviews, can come your way in many different formats. I think the biggest thing that I'll let die is like I can now be on the driver's seat and say, hold on a second. It's all coming from different direction. How am I sifting this so that I can escalate or I can move forward? Because it's so easy when so many different things, either good or bad, coming into you. Either oh, let me just pick on all the goods. I'm gonna leave off like not so good part about it. But actually, for me to extract it, like which one is the one that gonna excel? What is the truth of this, and how can I improve? And really being vulnerable, like the part of bold is also part of learning. I think that go back to different kind of learning and see how can I take this and really keep me forward, moving and escalate it, instead of, I think before I was just easily be, I'm like, no, that's not true. It's like very, very not black and white, but it's like easy to say, no, I'm not going to listen to this. This is what I want. And I think a part of being bold is just being open, like what you said, being vulnerable and with humility. Doesn't matter from who. It could be from a customer, it could be from your staff, like it could be from your family, it could be from my children, include, because it's not only about the business only. I think it's also relationship in every part, to make you a successful person. And I think that's what the biggest thing that I'm trying, prior Memorial Day and now, and looking forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so helpful for new entrepreneurs, because you are going to get feedback. And it's all feedback. In the world that we live in today, where you've got Google reviews, Yelp reviews, and even just on social media, the comments that you get, your
Yep.
ability to stay steady
Yep.
amidst all of that and to focus on your why is so
Hmm.
important.
Yes, that is so true. That holding into the why and the mission, it's really true, because just like anything else, it's very easy to just magnify or just stay on the negative. It's so easy to get just stay in there and then get consumed by it. I don't say that I didn't have days like that. I'm a human being. Being a
You know what?
humble. It's
I'm
just yes.
I'm just because you're so this is like your journey is so important to our listeners. Highlight for us what a day like that looked like when you perhaps forgot to move from your heart and you just went
Yes.
from reacting to those you know feedback, all of it. What happened with your
Yes.
day? What were you like?
Yes, that is really good. So that's why having a lot of things on your toolbox, in a way, like how you can pull yourself out of it, it's so important. So the day like that, when I, let's say I read something and I got a bad review, my heart just wrench, because you work your hearts out, you really pour into every single pancake
Mhm.
balls, like it's just pancake balls, but you put your hearts in it, and for once you can read like half a page of a reviews that are just shredded. It's like, oh my god. Oh, so for a moment I will usually kind of get frazzled, not be, so then, but then I will keep still. Okay, let me read it again, and is there a sliver of truth in here? If not, what is it, about it, that is it, is it something technical that I can do? I'm still analyzing it. But then I think I will pull out of the tool bag and say, and look at it again. It's like, you know what, this is not relevant, and then, to be honest, I could use the 5 4 3 2 1 method that Mel Robbins have been part of me. It's as simple as that. I'm like 5 4 3 2 1, walk away. And that's easy for me to kind of like, you know what, don't dwell in it. And then usually it's funny when you spoke to the universe, about your hearts out, and I will say it again and try to remember my mission. Hey, I'm here also to provide for everybody for the allergy. And then in a minute, a family with the allergy children will come with the mothers in
Mm.
tears. And that would just flip me right away to put me back in the driver's seat and said, okay, you know what? I have a bigger mission here. I'm going to keep working with my hearts out, because yes, nobody will like all the food, and, that nobody have to like anything. You just have to really, keep going at it. So I think that's the biggest learning this whole how am I gonna come out of it. And again, being part of your program again, that why, again, go back to the what and the why. That's really when I hold on into that, it's really helped me out. That's one of the biggest in my tool bags, to come out of it. Yeah.
So you related the story to me in person about that lady who came in tears, and you just referred to her. I just want you to just say a little bit more, because that scene when she came in, and what was it about that when she saw Puffy, what was that thing, and how did it make you feel coming out of, let's say, this critic that threw all that stuff at
Yeah.
you in that Yelp review or whatever it was.
So again, by throwing into the unknown, that's the mission. Little that I know, Puffy's been now part of like allergy community, so people will talk from one to the next, about how it is. So every single day we'll have family. So for example, like the mom, it's not just a one day thing. Almost every single day we probably get at least one or two mother, and usually they're average the children between 6 to 10 years old. They'll bring either one or two child or all of them, coming in. And then the mom will say, are you the owner? And then say yes. And they say, can I just thank you from the bottom of my heart? I just want to tell you that my daughter or my son haven't been or gone to any restaurant, because they're afraid of, getting sick. Usually they are very severely allergic. So, and then I said, oh, I told, what are you allergic to? And then we usually kind of go back and forth, and I'm making sure. And there is some that, for example, somebody allergic to a strawberry, which we do use strawberry, somebody, no problem. And my staff know we will change our gloves. We really accommodate and understand it. And we have what we call ingredients cart list, where I listed every single thing that's going into our batters or any of the ingredients. So it's funny enough, I thought, I provide that coming into from a perspective of a parents, that I would like to read every single package, for my children. Putting myself into the shoes of my customer, I would like to provide that. But I would probably say only 1% of them that coming in would like to read it. All of them have read about us either on the internet or social media. They trust us 100%. So they're like, no, I trust you. I don't need to read it. And that's like one of the big, I have chill
Me
right now.
too.
That's one of the
I'm
biggest things.
rubbing my arms because I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me. And that's what bring, and the mom was in tears. And then one even take a shot of her daughter eating the coffee. And then my daughter London was there, and they said, mama, and then they walk away and say, can I check in with them and ask whether how they like it? I'm like, sure, absolutely. A young marketer. So she went out there and asked, hey, how did you like the coffee? And then they talk, and then I approached him. It's like, I mean, this is
Mhm.
amazing. So the mom said, there's one we offer, usually the small one in 3 pieces. There's one piece left there. She didn't want to eat it because she wanted to really savor and save that, because that was her first restaurant experience. So, and then, that was just
Yeah.
heartwarming. That's automatically, that's become a big reminder. When I have other days that's hard, I just have to remember we bring smiles to these children or the parents, and some of them say we will be here to support you, thank you for what you do. And for me, I'm like, that's why I'm
Yeah.
here. I would like to save you being so worried, even just wanting to have fun, and that's part of it, where we want like to provide a container for everybody to have fun without worry. I think that's, yeah.
That's
Whoa.
amazing. So, there's obviously a lot that goes into starting a business and opening an actual brick and mortar operation in the
Mm-hmm.
midst of, we're coming back from this pandemic, but there's still so much unknown, ahead. And how do you do it? If you could share with our audience, what are your practices so that you can stay aware and be more conscious? Because there is
Mm-hmm.
so much uncertainty. And,
Mm-hmm.
we would like with this podcast for people listening to be able to release some of that, we have this like we're programmed with this need to
Yeah.
have to control everything or to have the
Mm-hmm.
answers. And clearly the story, what you've been sharing all along is that just this idea of like letting go. What are some of your practices that you do to be more conscious?
In your toolbox, because you mentioned toolbox a few times.
In my two
Yeah,
boxes.
talk about your tools that you
Yeah.
haven't yet used
Yeah.
or talked about.
So definitely um, sending gratitude. That's one of the biggest way. Either, through your journaling in the morning, or at night, whatever the time that you do, or as simple as really, as for me, even sending gratitude through social, being to your customers, or just, that's the biggest thing that you are saying it to the universe, how you really truly feels. I think when you really work with your and serve with your hearts, you totally forget like about not, I would say, about the material or the block that you're gonna have in the future, because that little things, that positive little heartwarming things will keep come and showing up. I think that's one of the biggest thing that it is scary. Once you start calculating everything, you're like, oh my gosh, like, this is too scary. Oh my gosh, like, we don't have customers today, but or that's a little few than yesterday. It's so easy to to go back and stay within that, especially if you come from corporate, where you everything is on the ledger, everything is, I don't say that we don't have it, we do, but don't get fixated on that, because then it's so easy, those numbers will just take away from your mission and purpose, I feel like, but if you really stay true to who you are, and, keep doing it 100% and allowing yourself to grow, I think that's the biggest thing too. Because if you are set into one way and not allowing yourself, hey, there may be a better way. It could be anything. It could be as simple as serving in a different cup, or using a different bag, or or maybe like so many things that we learn. One example, so little did we know, since we have if someone want to check our social something, we have a picture of our storefront, and Raju has seen it. We have an open window, so people can just actually walk up to our coffee store. You don't even have to go in. So all these times when we cook, and I don't think in any literature you can find, when you make our mini Dutch pancake using the cast iron pan, it's sort of like baking. And I didn't even realize this, because prior you always, do it or cooking it at home in a very controlled temperature. Everything is the same, you know. I'm like, oh, my puffy, this is easy. 2 minutes flip, you get a perfect one. Hey, now we have an open window. I didn't realize that. It's like you baking in the open oven. So how do you do that? I never knew. I never put two and two together that it is kind of like baking. So that's kind of learning. I'm like, hold on. And that comes from the review, actually. I mean, they don't say it, but for me to put two and two together, I was like, hold on a second, let me, that something is not right, So just allowing yourself, being vulnerable, and say, you know what, maybe there is something. Let me look into this, and what is it? So then we do what we every morning, what we call it a test batch. I would dissect and open one by one. I'm like, really? What is it? So at the beginning, when we do the test batch, the window is closed, and then when we open the window. And I'm like, why is my pan is always sticking? Why is my pan, it never comes perfect the first go around? I'm like, hold on a second. If you bake something in the oven, it's always controlled. When you open the oven door, your cake will deflate, right? So put two and two together. I'm like, how about if I open the window when I test batch? Will I still be, so allowing yourself just have fun and just experimenting. And I think that is the vulnerable part of it. I never know what I walk into. Somebody can just, say it in a not nice way, but I'm like, let me see how can I fix this? Like,
Yeah, so
so
how that's exactly it. What is your advice for people to not take things personally? Because that's basically what you're saying here. So,
yes.
if
Mm-hmm.
people listening that perhaps haven't been able to figure out the trick to not take things personally or not get offended, what would you say to them? How can someone perhaps, get better at that?
I think really go back first. I think doing the basic, learning about yourself first. I think that's what the biggest thing the whole year is, learning about me. Like, you know, um, how am I growing from something or from where I was? I think because I have been from one way and I see myself progressing and allow myself to feel it, I know how am I gonna go from A to Z, and navigating it. I think the biggest thing is people is that when you block, either you stuck there or you retract, right? So I think with many tool bag, and now that if you're allowing and you would like to walk into the infinite, it's like you when you hit a wall, you're like, hold on a second, we can go back and maybe we can turn, and that tool bag and opening yourself to wanting to be just being vulnerable, I think is huge. So I hope that's answer your question.
Well, you mentioned one
On the
practice is gratitude. You either you journal or you say to the universe. So this would be, you're saying, how do you become more aware that this is, because it's a consciousness
So
question
you're
we're asking.
saying reflecting, right?
Reflect.
That's what you're saying? Reflect on your
yes,
own
so
progress and growth?
yes, correct. So, like again, like I said earlier, I don't. It's not like I don't have those days. Like a human, that go back to where you just. I'm like, oh my god, and I'll be in tears, like But I saw another biggest thing. I think finding the right support,
Mhm.
finding the right loving support. It could be from your partner, it could be from your coaches, could be from your friend. I think the right support also the biggest thing for me. Not that you are compartmentalize who you are talking to, but I think knowingly who your true support, who is really talking from heart to heart, where you can really bounce back. I think that's very important, because nothing you do in this universe you can do it
Mm.
alone. I mean, I even having an open question, I mean, conversation with my children, with my kids, even regarding coffee. Hey, what do you think? Is it enough? What do you think? Why? Like, just being open minded, not just limiting to like, oh yeah, I only trust this person. Or, I think it's being open to that. It's very important for me right now too.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
So,
So I was going to ask you. You just touched on it just a minute ago. This is when one person as a leader, like you are a leader, you make a change, uh, and that impacts your family, your children, your
mhm.
um, so in that context, when you say, all these ups and downs, this happen. Nothing is going to be perfect every single day, right? So you need that support from your family, but the impact that one person changing can cause other effects, right, for you and your family. So
Yes.
so there is that. So speak to that a little bit, and then continue to talk about what does it mean to you now that you began this journey just a couple of months ago, from a vision you had a year ago to where you are today, and you made a decision at some point midway through our program, and then you launched in, right? Now it's 2 months of experience behind you. What does that journey mean to you? What kind of adventure do you think that equipped for, and what are you prepared to put into it, and what does it mean overall to you?
I think from your first question, we got it. It's only need one person to change, and then you creating that ripple effect. It's totally so true, because like this whole year, it's not only me that's growing. I can see the biggest growth also in my husband, not only between our relationship, but also in his career. It's funny because he needs to joke. I need to catch up with you in your self development. But in order to be able
Hey, he
to
can
be
join
open,
our next BCL.
I know. He'll be like a super great candidate. But I see how much he's flourishing as well in his own career, where not his team is also looking up to him. That's so gratifying, and it's like we have a discussion about many facets that we probably never been
Mhm.
before. It's opening up to be to a different conversation, a relationship growth. So like I said earlier, it's not only joining the program or learning about it. It's not only about business or not only about one thing. It's really when you're successful in one thing, you're success in many different components. Then you can tell yourself that you're successful. So with my children including, we joke a lot about the 5 4 3 2 1, but my children's very open about it. I went into the our bathroom in the mirror, and we have a high five moment too, where also again from Mel Robbins, like how you high fiving yourself. And I have those moments just a week ago. I have those moments that I talked to Trisha, I guess, a few days ago. I've had a hard moment, but in the way I woke up and said, you know what, I'm gonna high five
Mhm.
myself and walk, and I'll be just fine. And she has used the method. And then what you do, you are an influencer, either in your minuscule little circles, and it's gonna ripple out to the a larger, because then my children hopefully is gonna create another ripple for their friends, and everything like that. But multiple time, my daughter has used the 5 4 3 2 1, or I walked into my bathroom and she will have a high five with the handprint. She high five and then she draw it, and she'll say be bold, or she say thank you mommy. Like it's just those little things. I think that's what's so precious, and keep going. And that ripple that you're creating from one me, and towards my family, and hopefully my family will go out to the community and they will create their own ripples. So that's the one thing that we are experiencing, I
That's
think.
amazing. So that's the power of the ripple. I mean, just one person, and they're going to grow up to be very conscious and bold themselves in whatever they do in life. It's just so beautiful.
Yes, I hope so. I mean, and that again for me, allowing when you guys step into me, I think that allowing is huge. And for my children, I think it's easy. My children or my husband, they could also be close-minded and not allowing. And I've heard that. That's one, but the other part of it, or the people around it, is just not there yet, or they're just always, that's not my thing. I think about us, it's like we all have been like now in being in the allowing environment, and we just walk into it. So we as a family, we are very hopeful, and we're so looking for. My son told me, mommy, you're gonna have, hold on a second, how many countries in the world? That's what he said. I think he counted it. So if Puffy will be in one in each country, so I'm gonna head in the one in Greece. He already claimed it, like
Wow, that's great. That's amazing.
so I
It's
think
so
I mean,
amazing to see your just to witness
Yeah.
it, right? Just to witness. I mean, it's so clear to me. Our very, very, very first conversation, I want to say it was June 2020.
Mm.
We were like 2 months into the lockdown, and that conversation the three of us had is still so fresh
Mm.
in my mind. And
yes,
just to be able to sit here right now and look at you and reflect back to you, and just hear, the excitement, the enthusiasm,
Mm.
the joy in your voice, and to mention the word family, that this is family. We want people listening to recognize that this journey from employee to entrepreneurship, it isn't just about you. It absolutely impacts your entire family.
Hmm.
And, if you could, Lillian, just in one sentence, share with our audience what is the one thing that you did not expect and is a benefit that you did not even see coming as a result of you making that decision a year ago?
I think it's really making the biggest impact, like how much ripple that I can cause, or bringing to others, especially the allergy community, how that I didn't realize like how much ripples that I've caused, or joy that I bring to them. I've seen it, that's the mission. But to really see it in action, and it's actually not only because I see the tears, but that gratitude coming back when you're sending the gratitude and you receive the gratitude, and that is the most gratifying.
Mm.
That, I think, like I said, that's the mission, but I don't see it to be that much impact that I could make. So one thing that, when I have hard days, I'll say, you know what? This one of my staff said, "Oh, I cannot do that because I wouldn't change the world." We're talking about, what they're all in college, so what they're gonna do, and I just said, "Create your own ripples, make your own change. You do something small." That's how it started, and they look at me like, "Okay, yes, I'm gonna do this." So it's just that's, I think, the biggest thing, Trisha and Raju, like, sending the gratitude and receiving that gratitude, and hopefully it will keep creating the ripples. That's the biggest thing that I see,
Mm.
along with my family. When my family, my children involve, and they actually would like to know, they're asking them, like, they will just approach any children. "Oh, you have allergy? What kind of allergy?" And be brave and bold enough. It's not like, "Oh, I'm born with this. I'm stuck. I can't do anything with this." I see that's my mission. Like, I would like them to not feel left out. And I think not only changing others, but theirs, and they're along together. I think that is huge for me.
Fantastic. My granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, is 11, and she was born and grew up with lots of nut allergies. So when are you opening one in New York? Is the question.
I know somebody just asked me if we would like to open in
Deal.
DC. Like,
So it's just,
and actually, somebody from New York and New Jersey a few weeks ago too. So maybe, Raju,
can't wait, can't wait.
we'll put
You
it out
heard it here first.
there. Yeah.
All right, so we take nothing for granted, Lillian. You are certainly one of our clients that has just lived this journey, as I said earlier. It's heartwarming for us to sit from afar and see all that change and the transition. You're not saying everything is a bed of roses, and it isn't. I've seen that live, and when I was there, even for that half an hour or whatever. So yes, so we realize that none of this is straightforward and easy, but the road ahead is always complicated, and you've just gone and winding around the road, and you're just sticking to your mission. So that's a key. So we don't take anything for you granted, including your time. I know your husband's taking care of uh, Puffy and kids right now, so we want to really say we're really blessed to have you here. We really feel amazed that someone like you is living this dream, and it just gives us the validation of our ripple effect that we hope to cause, and it'll keep going, and then people like you are just living that. So having said all that, we appreciate you and thank you. What is the one thing that you got out of this conversation? Yet another discovery about you, Lillian, in this hour we spent together.
That it does take, being bold and humble combined together. You cannot just be bold. You cannot just be humble, as the combine and the both unison together. Doesn't matter what throws at you, and the, like you say, the road, you don't know where you headed, but you hold on into that, you stay true to who you are. And I have that in me. And I'll be just fine. And we gonna move forward and creating something bigger. And that's what I learned today. And it's sometimes easy to forget about that. Like, but when you reflect back, you know what? You're here for a purpose, you're here for a reason. Your heart is so true and you work on it, you'll be just fine and just keep
You'll
moving
be
forward.
more
And
than
I think
just
that's what I
fine. You'll be more than just fine. You're great. So here's the coaching client conversation again. Nobody here is just
Yeah,
fine.
there's no just.
There is no just and there is
not
no
just fine. No,
fine. Okay? So let's truly own this.
it'd be
We
great.
so appreciate having you on today. It's been so much fun. When Raju and I were, putting together a list of people that we wanted to have to launch our season 2 of our Bold Conscious Connections podcast, you were one of the, immediate people we had on the top of the list because we just have really had so much fun
Mm,
witnessing
that's right.
witnessing the journey. And, a couple of things I want to highlight before we sign off is yes, this is an adventure because it does involve highs and lows and it involves stretching, growth. That saying, growing pains exist for a reason.
Mhm.
And, I think you did a beautiful job of sharing with us today what some of your own processes are to be able to move, through moment to moment. So we look
Mhm.
forward to seeing your continued growth. Where can people find you, Lillian?
People can find me on Instagram. Our handle is at Puffy Mosaic, so you can follow us there. Or you can also check out our website to read a little story about us. Is
And
www.puffy.net.
Poffy is spelled
We're
Poffy.
Yes.
yes,
And we're
correct.
going to put everything in the show
Show notes. Yeah.
notes. So
Mhm.
people watching this on YouTube or listening to this on your podcast app will be able to find that. So the only Poffy right now is in Northern Virginia in the Mosaic District. You're very lucky. I still haven't found my way down there, but I'm coming.
Yes, we're waiting for you, and wait until I tackle you when I see you because I'm gonna give you the biggest
Well,
hug.
well, in true, with our history working together, we didn't talk about how we met as we both worked for the same company for over 20 years. I will just come and it'll be a quote unquote surprise visit, which you're used to, in another life that we shared together.
Yes,
And I'm gonna
yes,
see
yes.
you in 2 weeks. Okay. On my
Oh,
way. All right.
yes.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Thank you so much again,
All
Lillian.
right.
Very proud of you.
Thank
You
you.
take good care.
Thank you, Lillian.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity.
Bye bye.
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 Bye.